Hi, I'm Drake the Game Cat, and this is your takeover.
This is Viewer Takeover, where we film every Monday night. We bring it to YouTube every Tuesday. I think Tuesday, I don't know. Dude, that sale video is gigantic. Maybe it'll be Wednesday. Who cares? I don't even know what day of the week today is. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole. And the guys to my right, the boys. Special guest, Jeff Fletcher from Future Mental Games, maker of Distortion VR. Jeff, thank you so much for being here. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Bring me on.
You like that energy boost, man? Before the show, we're all like, so how's it going, man? And then I'm like,
oh, yeah.
What's up, everybody?
When you wind Brian up a little bit, it just starts going. You can't even stop him.
And every week on Viewer Takeover, I'd like to thank a whole lot of people. And the first person we want to thank is Nathan Drake, the Game Cat, for that fantastic Viewer Takeover introduction. I mean, spoilers, guys. We didn't have one in the queue. We had none. Zero. You guys aren't pulling your weight around here. You have to send us introductions. So I went to Discord, which you should already be a part of. Click the link in the description. And I asked the first cat that I saw, I grabbed Nathan Drake and I said, you, send me an introduction. He was like, okay, Brian, I'm so sorry. And then and here it is. So thank you so much, Nathan. We appreciate you very much.
Well done.
I feel like a big part of Viewer Takeover is us telling people they're not doing good enough. Like, you haven't sent us enough good intros. Send us better questions next time, like every time. It's a little demanding.
It's all their fault. It's all the viewers' fault, is what Brian said.
That's right. If you want to introduce next week's show, make sure you send your short, sweet, seductive, Saints and Sinner, take your favorite, I'm having a stroke, to withoutparole@gmail.com. We also want to thank, of course, though, these people down here. These people went to patreon.com/withoutparolegames, and they're the ones hooking up this channel with $1 or more every month. In other words, they're the ones keeping these very atmospheric lights on. And we appreciate you so very much. Just like our Patreon leaders, Joshua McCrory, MTM the Game Cat, and T. Flaros. You guys are awesome. We love all of you. Thank you so much. But AJ, before we really get the show rolling here, who else do we need to thank?
We'd like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something Game Cat related, or something Game Cat adjacent, as you and something Game Cat adjacent would like to say. And guys, just make sure when you change your name on YouTube, thank you so much, first of all, make sure you leave a hashtag GameCat so that Brian can easily find it. And this week, we have 2 new Game Cats to welcome to the Game Cat Dojo.
Right.
So, Jeff, who's our first Game Cat name change this week?
Jack. You have Jack the Game Cat.
Nice.
Dude, pretty straightforward.
Dude,
yeah, straightforward.
Jack is the name of my Jeep. So I'm thrilled to know that he watches Viewer Takeover. That's awesome. All right, Jeff, who's the other Game Cat name change this week?
The other Game Cat name change is Sean B. Just another Game Cat.
Just an otter Game Cat.
Thus the prop. You had an otter handy?
Well, so I love otters. Are my favorite animal, and I've had this since I was a kid. Somebody got this for me, and I just found it one day when I was moving, and I just put it on my desk, because I like otters, and it's fun to toss around sometimes.
Dave, I've known you for 14 years. That's the first time I ever heard that otters were your favorite animal.
I love this fake lore that you're coming up with.
I just retconned our entire history.
We went to high school together. How come I didn't know?
Yeah. Oh, you should have seen us in high school. We were crazy.
Oh, wow.
If you change your name to GameCat because you love us almost as much as we love you, make sure, as AJ said, put hashtag GameCat in the comments below so I can find you and give you a shout out in next week's show. Okay, so this is the part of the show where I usually ask Dave what we do here on the show, but man, we are blessed and thrilled and excited to have Jeff Fletcher here. As I said, from Future Mental Games, he's been hard at work on Distortion VR for, I think since Dave and I were in high school together. It's been a long time now. And dude, what's going on at Future Mental Games? How many people, how many thousands of people are employed over there with you?
Just one, just myself.
Oh, wow. 1,000? Oh, no, just one. Okay, yeah.
Well, 2 really. I have me. I'm doing all the game creation and everything. I have a composer named Leon Switch. He's doing the score, the soundtrack, and it's just us 2 really. We're just banging it out. We're using the Dropbox and Google Drive and some sharing files.
Old school postal service type stuff.
Is that how you were doing it before COVID, or is this like new because of COVID?
Well, I'm in Los Angeles. He's in England. So.
That answers my question.
We've been
working like this since the beginning. He was one of my favorite producers, and then I reached out to him, and he was on board from day one once he
Wow.
saw all the footage.
Awesome.
His style of music, it was just once I started building the environments, I kind of would listen to his music while I would do the level design, you know.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah.
you know, I just got the random idea, like, oh, let me message him. I went to his Facebook and sent him a message, and he got back to me. You know what I mean? So that's how we connected.
And so, for people who don't know, what is the game you're working on right now? Tell us about it. Give us a little, elevator pitch.
All right, this is Distortion VR. It's I've been working on it starting about the end of 2019. Pretty much is a straightforward first-person shooter in VR. You know, full locomotion. You know, it's not open world. It's pretty much linear from point A to point B. Kind of like, I would say, like a Arizona Sunshine or Farpoint. You know, but in a cyberpunk environment. I'm a fan of, like, you know, the old school shooters like Doom and Wolfenstein. You know, just the old school shooters, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. So, you know, I just basically set out to make that type of game in VR. You know, a lot of the obvious Blade Runner influence, Ghost in the Shell, etc., and just kind of recreating, you know, that atmosphere and really, you know, putting the player in that world. You know, VR was always like the dream, like the fantasy when you, as a kid growing up watching movies, and then when it became a reality, I was kind of like all in, because I had Virtual Boy back in the day and all that stuff as a kid. You know, but when the technology wasn't ready yet, so but when I first tried VR for the first time, like real VR, then I was pretty much sold in there. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like the way it is, to be honest, as far as like not having the big companies involved too much, because you get more creativity, and more originality.
Too is, like, you know, as you're trying to sell a game, like if you're selling to people on iPhones and Androids and stuff like that, there's a zillion other people out there trying to do the same thing. Whereas VR is still kind of a less crowded market, right? Like you can stand out a little more.
I mean, as far as like the environment I'm creating, you have to be in the world to really get the scale of the buildings, the skyscrapers. You know what I mean? Like on a flat screen, you're not going to be able to, you know, really feel the scale of the world that I'm building. You know?
I'll be honest with you, though. You know, it's been awesome watching the development of this game, watching the progress and stuff. And every time you post something new, I see something like it just looks slightly more polished, slightly, just more to it. And it's been a really cool journey of yours to kind of witness. And honestly, you can tell. I 100% agree. Like watching on flat screen never does it justice. But seeing your game, I can definitely imagine myself there and kind of picture it and see that city and see that world. And it already, even just from the previews we've seen, it seems really like the atmosphere is already there. So it's been looking really nice, man.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's been the most challenging part, is translating what I'm working on into the flat screen on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, you guys are VR players. You guys know, like, it just doesn't do it any justice.
I don't know if this is like a personal question or what, but
That's cool.
when your Kickstarter didn't meet its goal,
Yeah.
how does somebody say, okay, well, this is the plan, right? That the Kickstarter is the way that I'm going to like move forward, and this is how I'm going to develop this game, and this is sort of what I've been leading up to. Like, I know you'd planned that Kickstarter for a long time, for months, and you weren't ready to start it yet, and then you weren't ready to start it yet, and I was like, let me know when you're ready to start it. We need to tell the cats about it. And then you started it and didn't hit its goal. I mean, like, beyond, I'm sure it's heartbreaking when it happened, but like, what do you do at that point? Like, did you have to change like your entire roadmap for the future? What happened?
No, I always kind of put myself in a position where, like, you know, I've just got to do it the longer way. The whole plan with Kickstarter was like to raise enough money and then delegate like certain tasks to other programmers and expedite the process as far as make it quicker. But I mean, I've already like did a ton of maps, so there's no way I would just like throw it away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of motivates me to, you know, make it even better. You know what I mean? But honestly, like, I try not to, you know, attach myself too much to it. It's like I wasn't really, maybe I didn't prep. This is my first time doing anything like this or Kickstarter, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I just did the Kickstarter, and I probably could have did it better as far as leading up to it, and but it doesn't discourage me from keep going. I mean, it sucks, but I just got to do it myself, because it has to get done either way.
So do we have a release window or anything when we should be expecting Distortion, or is that not revealed yet?
I don't have an exact release date yet, but I'm thinking maybe like third quarter of this year. Basically, I have about 21 maps done. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So,
do you have
like
targets for different
done,
headsets first, like Quest or PSVR first, or like any kind of?
Well, the first would be like the Steam first, and
okay.
And then the optimization for, once everything is 100% done, which is, I would say like 90% done. I just have to finish out these maps, but I've been kind of jumping in and out of these maps, but it's like 21 maps total so far.
Do you ever play new games? Do you ever play things that are the thing that's actually specifically in my head right now is the newest Pistol Whip update 2089? Do you ever play something like that and you see how how cool something they did was and go, oh, I could totally sneak something like that into my game? Does that ever happen like at the 11th hour?
Oh yeah, definitely. As far as the influences, it's like nonstop for me, because I'm always like paying attention to who's doing what, and I really like the comic book 3D thing that Pistol Whip did in 2089. Like, that was sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I was gonna do comic book transitions. As far as I was looking for a comic book artist to do transitions with Distortion, but the 3D aspect was pretty
Right.
sick.
I always love seeing that. There's only a few games that have done that, but it's always a good style, I think. If you can pull that off, totally go for it, because I love seeing that.
All right, you guys, what do you think? Should we move on and discuss some of the questions that the viewer sent us this week?
Absolutely. It sounds like a great idea. Let's start with the first one, which comes from Ben11567 on our Discord. In the Viewer Takeover channel, he asks, I'm having a stroke too, Brian, sorry. One of my biggest problems when buying a PSVR game is length. While smaller experiences can be fun, I can rarely justify paying $20 to $30 for something that lasts around 2 to 5 hours. Do you think that when PSVR2 comes out and can take advantage of the PS5, we'll see longer games that feel similar to flat screen, like Half-Life Alyx?
Jeff, do you like longer or shorter games when it comes to
longer?
VR?
I'm all about full length, long games and VR. I'm loving Hitman right now. Hitman 1, 2,
Oh,
3.
dude, you got to get the trilogy.
Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, I have all 3 loaded
Sweet.
up. Like, I love the longer games. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I'm big on, as far as like the length. I feel what the guy's saying about the short games, but I do feel like there are ways to extend even the shorter games. Like, I like how Superhot has the challenge mode, even though that campaign was super short. But you still find yourself playing it because of those challenge modes. So that's one thing I'm definitely trying to implement, is like an endless challenge modes where you can go through all the maps. Even after you finish the Distortion campaign, you can go back and do like the challenge mode and kind of revisit the maps. Little things like that give it longevity. Even if the campaign is not 50 hours, like, some of the flat games, you can still add more features so it's just not like a one and done. I have games I visit frequently. I love the Farpoint challenge mode, even doing it by myself, like the what was it, like the time points or something like that. Like,
It's like on a timer, and then you get to like a checkpoint and reset the thing. I'm a big fan of the co-op myself. Shout out to Void Citizen out there. We play the co-op all the time, and it's got the difficulty levels that and like not until getting to the highest difficulty in Chaos I was like, this is how the game is meant to be played.
Yeah, it's arcade style, like, it has that, nonstop action going on,
That's one of those cool things too that we see sometimes from developers, where like the game comes out, everybody loves it already, and then they're just like, hey, we added a new mode. It's a multiplayer mode. Hey, we added new weapons. There's a whole new system for the weapons and unlocking stuff and all this stuff that they didn't really even have to go back and do, but they did, and was really, really awesome for them to keep working on it after it came out.
Yeah, I like when they do that as well.
there's so many facets to this question that like I don't even kind of know where to begin. It's like, yeah, we all have preferences on longer or shorter games, and I think most people want the best value proposition. But like we've talked before about, if the $20 price tag on certain games like needs to change, if we need to like explore the pricing structure a little bit more, do our $20 games less value, like do we get less value out of $20 games than we used to? It just seems like if somebody's making like a small indie game, they just stamp that $20 price tag on, they go, okay, here you go, like so frequently when it's like, well, maybe this game should have been $10 or $15. So
I agree.
I get where Ben's coming from for sure.
Yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
definitely.
When I pay about $20, I usually want to get at least 4 to 5 hours out of a game. I don't consider that a long game either, but I feel like for that $20 price tag, you usually get, your money's worth. And I don't mind paying more for when I get more content. $20 has been kind of a sweet spot lately for a lot of games that at least offer a couple hours.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the thing for me is like I'm one of those people who I'm kind of tired of the flat screen games that are like 80 hours long and 100 hours long. Like these games that come out and want to be the only game that you play for months and months and months and months and months. And like I just can't get into that. I have trouble finishing them because I'm kind of a dilettante. Like I want to play whatever's new and fun and seems exciting. And so like sometimes you drop an Assassin's Creed out and people are saying it's good or whatever, but that thing's so big I can't even grapple with it. And so I do like these kind of like they said Half-Life Alyx, which is like an 11-hour game, which I think is like the sweet spot. Like for VR games, if you can have more replayability beyond that, obviously that's good. And like a game like Skyrim that's open-ended, obviously you get more gameplay than that. But like for being in the headset and going through a whole narrative, I don't think I'd want to be there for 60 hours straight in one game.
I'm definitely the opposite of you, Dave. For a
Yeah.
big story, I'm definitely more about the longer games. I think for a story, I like usually at least a 15-hour story to beat that, and then have like replay value. But I'm still been playing No Man's Sky all week, and that game came out in 2015. That's my kind of jam right there. It's like a game that I can play for years and years and years.
Well, but so that's not a narrative experience. So it's a little different. I feel like this is like the Irishman problem, right? Everybody loves The Irishman, great movie, but it's too damn long. That movie's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a long movie. Yeah.
And so, like, that's the thing where there's a little bit of give and take there, where it's like, I wish it was a little shorter, but I love it, but I wish it was a little shorter. That's where I come down on stuff like this.
What about Borderlands 2 VR?
Borderlands is decent. It's like 20 hours straight campaign, then you got DLC on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, I like having a lot of content like that.
Well, I think with that one, though, the reason I played Borderlands is not for the story. It's for the loot. It's for the fun gameplay. Like the story is take it or leave it for me. I actually don't really like a lot of the humor style and the way that they do stuff in Borderlands. It kind of bounces off me. But it's just the loot and the shooting and all that stuff is what does it for me. So that kind of games where the gameplay loop keeps you coming back for dozens of hours, that's the good shit, right? But like, I don't need a game where the story is 80 hours long.
When PSVR 2 comes out, PSVR 2, because we don't know the next generation of VR on PS5. Do you think we will see?
Listen, we're not calling it the next generation of VR on PS5 for the next year, okay? We're calling it PSVR 2 for the next year. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you think we will see longer games?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the fact is that right now, they're like AAA studios are not looking at PSVR and going, there's some place we can make money. We should totally spend manpower and resources to bring our game over there, right? They're just saying like, let's make a PS4 game, let's make a PS5 game, and let's sell it to the 120 million PS4 gamers that are out there. They look at the 5-6 million install base and they go, whatever, man. Get back to us when that shit's popular. And right now it's not popular. But I do think that Sony's going to be the driving force behind bringing VR to the mainstream, like faster and further than ever before. And so I think, and of course they have all these relationships with, think of the number of people they got to make a PSP game. Right? Like I can't think of too many developers that were like, we need to have a PSP game in our in our catalog. Very few of them, but I'm sure Sony was like, hey guys, while you're making your PS2 game, your PS3 game, can you please make a PSP game for us too? They've got these relationships, and I think that we're going to start seeing people who, not making VR exclusive games. They're going to be bringing their like AAA PS4 game or PS5 game over to PSVR 2. and giving it that mode, and working with Sony to make sure that that happens. And so, I think we're going to see this a lot more often. And I think, again, getting back to Ben's question, it's all a matter of perspective, right? Because it's fine flooding the store with, all of these games, like all these $20 games that are like 3 or 4 hours long. But the problem only arises when the AAA games, the 15, 20, 30 hour plus experiences aren't mixed in there. That's where the problem becomes. And that's when people start going, man, there's just too many fucking small experiences on the PlayStation VR. There's not enough meaty things. I can't sink my teeth into a game for the next week. Because if you look at the PlayStation 4 store, it's a very similar situation, right? It's like you get tons of indie games, but you also have all those AAA games mixed in. And I think that's what we're missing over here on the VR side.
Well, I think the important part of what you said there is the fact about the market. And it's almost like a chicken and an egg thing, right? Because, like, the reason is not the hardware. They could make a big, expansive game on a PS4 OG that runs in VR if there was a market and they had the budget behind it. But at that time, it didn't seem like there was, I think, for a lot of developers. And so, like, it's easier to port an existing game like a Skyrim that does have that kind of longevity than to create a new one, because there's just not the money there for it.
Exactly.
But it's really a matter of, like, will the hardware convince enough people to buy it that developers will start realizing, okay, this is worth it. Let's start doing this thing. Because until that happens, it's not going to happen. It does help, like you said, with Sony fostering these kind of exclusives and paying to get these games made, because if nobody else is going to do it, then we're not going to be pulling people into the ecosystem.
It's definitely an audience for both. Because I was playing before VR, I was playing a lot of indie games. That was one of the initiatives that they took with PS4 that I was really excited about. While everybody was, I of course played some of the bigger ones too, but I wasn't forgetting about Transistor and Jamestown Plus and Towerfall Ascension and a lot of these great smaller games. I think there's a market for everything. You can never have too much, but it's very simple. The more polished, the bigger the game, the higher the price should be. The less polished, the smaller the game, the smaller the price should be. And I feel like that's a simple solution, but there should be an audience for every type of game out there for sure.
No, I think it got better. I think when PlayStation VR first came out, it was more of those short $20 experiences. Like I remember it was at Mortal Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
$20, and I beat that in like 20 minutes. Like that. And yeah, I was a little disappointed with that chapter 1. So I remember like chapter 1.
Because you're never going to see a chapter 2. You're never going to see a chapter 2. Never.
Yeah,
for any of those
there was
games.
supposed to be like a chapter 2, but then they just come out with, was it a Mortal Blitz?
Like
Combat
Arena.
Yeah,
I'm like, what happened to the chapter 2?
And it has nothing to do with the original game. It's like totally separate from the original game.
But it was supposed to be leading up to something. It was so weird, but just like they just scrapped it.
And that was what, $20, I think, at launch, and it was like you said, it was super short. And I don't know if their plan was to sell us Chapter 2 or if they were just gonna add it for free as DLC.
I believe it said coming soon.
Yeah, right.
I think it ended.
Probably still says coming soon.
It probably still says coming soon. Yeah. But I think when you get like a 20-minute game like that, which definitely had its merits. I don't want to shit on Mortal Blitz too much because it was actually a pretty cool Time Crisis.
It's like our first Time Crisis one. Yeah.
It was great for that.
But when you charge $20 for it, I think people expect more. And I think when we get to PSVR2 and more AAA developers are working in that space, I think the market's going to kind of self-correct. People are going to they're going to try to sell you a Mortal Blitz game for $20 again, and no one's going to buy it because there are better options available, bigger names available. And so you have to entice gamers with a lower price point when you're selling them a smaller experience like that. And so I think a lot of the problems we're having this generation will self-correct next generation just by the nature of the beast itself. What do you think? Is that going to do it for another viewer takeover?
I think so.
Just might.
Oh yeah. All right. Jeff, thank you so much, man, for hanging out with us and talking to us a little bit about about Distortion, where it's coming from, where it's going. I don't know, man. That didn't sound good. Yeah. But of course, you're going to keep us updated, right? And let us know every step along the way.
Man. Whatever. Every time record a new footage, I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah.
And, keep sharing footage.
I
No
assume we've
spoilers
been
though.
showing
Don't tell me too many spoilers.
Corner, right? Have we been showing
Yeah, no
footage the whole
spoilers.
time?
I'm sure we've been showing Distortion the entire time.
Okay,
Absolutely.
that's what I meant.
Right.
Cool.
And it's got aim support, move support, DualShock support, everything.
Everything. Everything that people want is going to have it.
So no 3D rudder support.
Actually, yeah, I have a 3D rudder developer kit.
There you go.
Really?
Even 3D rudder.
I have that too.
Nice.
Yeah, they sent me that early on. Yeah, so it's yeah. So definitely aim support, move controller support. I kind of like how Arizona Sunshine did the separate campaign one with the two-hand weapons and
Yeah.
the dual wielding.
Mm.
So I'm looking at doing that as far as with the aim support. Just all the guns are two-handed. Campaign will be separate.
Nice.
Awesome. And of course there'll be jetpacks.
No,
No jetpacks. Oh, I figured if I just snuck it in there, you'd have to make it happen.
All right.
Right?
Brian, delete the
But
episode.
I'm adding new abilities, like the player he can climb now, and I'm starting to. I see, like what people like. You know what I mean? I know you guys are fans of that Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, so kind of like just keep my eye on what people like, and
Good,
trying to
good.
add elements from that.
Just a reminder, if you didn't like the questions that we talked about today, make sure you send in better questions. And that's either by joining our Discord. The link is in the description below. Or you can just put the question in the comments below by typing hashtag viewer takeover, all one word. We'll find it, of course, and maybe talk about it on next week's show. Also, if you change your name to GameCat because you love us almost as much as we love you, make sure you change your name to GameCat. That's not right. Put hashtag GameCat in the comments below so you can get a shout out on next week's show. Also, we've got no viewer takeover introductions. And don't make me beg on Discord, because I will. I've been known to do it. I did it today. Send your short, sweet, seductive, Saints and Sinners inspired or Distortion inspired viewer takeover introduction to withoutparole@gmail.com. That's it, man. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, AJ. My name's Brian. This was Viewer Takeover,
Right.
and we're out.
Thanks for having me.
Or the fact that I have this beautiful, awesome
Man, I wish I had it.
Dreamcast arcade stick. It's so clicky and
Oh
everything.
man.
But
What else do you have like
About me.
within arm's reach? Like what else?
well, I've got just like the standard kind of blue see-through Dreamcast controller. My entertainment center is right next to me. So this is, I'm just like AJ. I keep all my shit to the left of my camera. You know. AJ, where's
Oh,
your
wow.
end controller?
It's here.
You don't want to show me?
Jeff,
Okay, it's not here.
Jeff, you got anything cool within arm's reach now that we're doing this?
Yeah, I can show you real quick. You want to get it?
Sure. Whatever you got, man. All I got is a
He's got a
Pokeball.
bigger He's got a bigger Buster Sword than you, AJ, sitting in his corner over there.
I got a Pokeball. I got a Quest 1.
Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. I still have the PS2 games we talked. There.
Oh, there he is. Look at him. Perfect.
Oh man, this is like
All right.
yeah. So yeah,
Come on,
Okay,
baby.
and now show us your PSVR2 dev kit, if that's cool. Are you allowed to do that?
I don't have it, but
No, I'm just
definitely.
playing.
So I will be sending the email soon once I'm ready for that.
Excellent.
But yeah, I'm a fan of the aim controller. I love the aim controller.
Too.
Yeah, Farpoint was a big influence.
It's on sale
I
right
have a
now.
lot.
If you guys don't have it yet, go buy Farpoint.
No, don't
I'm
buy
sorry,
it.
it's not on sale. No,
It's
I'm
free.
sorry, I take it all back. Edit that out. It's free. as well.
Edit that out.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll edit it out. All right.
Edit the whole thing out. Let's start over again.
This whole segment. It's the new segment on Viewer Takeover. We ask developers, what's the coolest thing within arm's reach?